I am deeply honored to address you tonight about the just cause of the Palestinian people. It is very appropriate to talk about this issue tonight because it reinforces the message of the International Festival of Poetry and Resistance, since Palestine has become a rallying point for people throughout the world who are searching for peace with justice. I speak from personal experience as someone who was born in Nazareth, Palestine, and witnessed his country being wiped off the map in 1948 when European settlers created the State of Israel, largely through the ethnic cleansing of the indigenous population of Palestine. Back in the mid-19th century, when it was evident that the Ottoman Empire was weakening, British and French colonialism began contemplating the creation of an outpost in Palestine to geographically split the Asian part of the Arab world from the African part. They were driven by the desire to protect their colonies in Africa and Asia by preventing the emergence of a united and strong Arab country. They welcomed and supported the creation of the Zionist movement in the late 19th century, since its goals coincided with those of European colonialism by calling for the transfer of European Jews to Palestine. With the demise of the Ottoman Empire in 1917, Palestine fell under British occupation, and by 1948, when Britain withdrew, 650,000 European Jews had been allowed into Palestine. The well-armed and well-trained Zionist militias overwhelmed the largely defenseless Palestinian population, forced 75% of the population to leave the country, and declared the State of Israel on 78% of Palestine. Then, in 1967, Israel occupied the remaining 22% of Palestine. The Palestinian population now numbers around 10 million, of which 6 million are refugees and are distributed as follows. 1.5 million are citizens of Israel proper, 2.5 million reside in the West Bank, 1.5 million in Gaza, 4 million in the neighboring Arab countries, and 500,000 in Europe, the Americas, and Australia. Through ethnic cleansing, displacement, occupation, and siege, Israel has attempted in the last 62 years to dismember, control, and subjugate the Palestinian people. Israel is guided by the ideology of Zionism and defines itself as a Jewish state, even though 20% of its citizens are Muslims and Christians. Zionism is a colonialist movement that relies on the notions of divine entitlement and civilizational superiority that justified previous settlement projects in South Africa, the Americas, and Algeria. Zionist Israel, by virtue of its exclusionary outlook and ethnocentric model of citizenship, is unethical and immoral and has to rely on violence to maintain its discriminatory and oppressive policies.